And away we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're at. Hello. Let's see. We want to do, what do we want to do? Whatever we feel like doing. It is like past 4 a.m. in the morning here. What, are you crazy? Well, maybe. First sip of coffee, just had my first sip of coffee, nothing like that in the morning. Evening, lunchtime. Of course, I have to have a spritz of lime juice in mine. Weird, I know. Takes the bitterness out, gives it a citrusy, And looking on the calendar here, Columbus Day, Thanksgiving Day in Canada. So happy Thanksgiving Day in Canada. Columbus Day. I guess when the Americas was discovered. I bet the bank is closed for Columbus Day. That's okay. I don't get my check till about 2:30 in the mail here at the house. Usually I get it on Saturdays. Of course, I only have this check and next week's check to go. 2 more checks for work, and I'm sure the other one's already in the mail. Not next week's, but this week's, right? I just haven't received it yet. But it being Columbus Day, I doubt they're open. Good thing I checked, of course, they're just right across the street. Banks are going to be closed today, right? I would think. Let's see who's up. Nobody's up right now except me. So, there is that. Let me check and just see what the competition is. Have I got any competition streaming right now? Hills Baby Face. Of course, he's over in the UK. So 6 hours difference. So it's about midday there, about a little after 10 o'clock for him. There's Shadowhawk, not my Shadowhawk, but another Shadowhawk that I actually subscribe to. Nothing significant. Maybe Drawing Art Academy, which I never really watch, but it's cool to be subbed to them. Welcome to Chill and Hang, episode 1. No, episode 3. I'm actually taking this from, another thing. So it was episode 1 I was looking at. It's just me doing what I do, flying solo. And I had no idea of that there was a Euphoria. My thumbnail is from Euphoria, so apparently there was a morning to you. And my brain's probably always going to say Appaloosa, but Alfonso Riley, it's good to see you. Good morning to you. Of course, I was on not the full stream with Omer. I don't even know how long that went. Yeah, my mind's just always going to go there. I could not get Eric and Boyd's character, Mr. Muck, in my brain. I was calling him Mr. Yuck. And maybe from the Hanna-Barbera, and it was pissing him off there for a little while till I kind of explained myself. Look, that's where my brain goes. So I was working on the character that I plan on doing a story with. And I need to draw her a few more times to sort of get down the facial structure and what I want to do, although there's not a lot of structure to her. Settle on something I really like and then go with that. But and named her recently Euphoria. Hopefully that doesn't look too bad. So I was working on not sketch cards, but I went with a little larger piece on watercolor paper. This is 140-pound test watercolor paper, so pretty significant. I was using these watercolor fine tip markers, which aren't really great for large areas, but and then inking, and there was a few areas just to add a more intense color here or there or something uh, within the mix here of alcohol markers. So you can see there's a little bit of bleed through on the back. Anyway, I've got to finish up just strengthening some of these lines, and then this one will be finished. So there's another Euphoria that, you know, I might put up on the campaign later, or, it's just doing the work right now. I'm trying to develop a lot of the 43 characters. What's the 43? Their Nazi experiment gone wrong, kind of like transportation accident. And, they're going to be in at least 2 stories in one of my next books. Not my next book. The next book's going to be John Buscema, the unseen artwork of John Buscema, and that, at least that's the plans. And then we'll go on to Momentum Unleashed and Devil Flyer Zero with the release of 2 books. Work on 2 books, and hopefully after the Buscema book, the funds will be there to expedite all those projects. I'm hoping that the Buscema book that will lead into a larger book. Of course, for that one, we'll have some licensed stuff in there that I will need to contact the Buscema estate. And I'd like to do Sal Buscema. Of course, he's still alive as of today. And just having morning coffee, didn't, need to do some cleanup. Don't know if I'm going to get to it, but I'm this is just what I do. Sometimes I might go in silent mode, but I will always acknowledge the chat. That's kind of like what Chill and Hang episode 3 is. Just me kind of, it may be a chair stream while I go get coffee. It may be I got to go let Abby out, which I just got up out of bed, showered, because I did not shower all day long yesterday, believe it or not. I'm not saying when I wear a cap that I'm grubby. But, I wore a cap yesterday on the 4 o'clock shadow. Why? Because I had not showered and my hair was wild. I pretty much worked on the 43 all day yesterday. I don't have, I do have the notepad here. And actually, got up very early like today. And also, I think I might have been on the very start of season 4. I went through all of season 4, and now I'm about midway in season 5, binge watching while I work in the recliner, and Abby's usually down there in her bed. Usually she used to be right there in my lap, but now that she's gotten older, it's like I've gotten her in the habit. Hey, good morning, Bone. It's good to see you, sir. I'm sure you're getting ready to go to work. So I have all but one. And some of these are kind of like really subject to change, but I mean, I think I've got a good roster here, the 43, and there's one slot open. There may be a few others that I had to modify. I had to develop some of these characters, but I came up with some of the names like Panzer and Blockade, and I kind of know what Panzer is going to be like. Siren, Mirage, Proton. Of course, Proton's on the original drawing there. Bot is kind of like my techno hacker type, character, the technical wizard of all of them. It's so I've done that. I've done front and back of that, wrote front and back of that of different things, and did almost another page. So laying out, and some of this is like portals. After I finish Euphoria here, I want to work on some portals, at least start that. And for that, I'm just going to use and they are round portals, and I'm going to use a stencil, nothing fancy. But I do have right here it is. I do have a giant pad for that. I thought, well, what I want to put it on, because there's other stuff I can put it on, but this old pad here, just some portal designs. I think the portals are going to be designated by color. Like if you go to space, it's more of a bluish type portal. If different locales, they're different colors, so that you can almost identify what type of portal it is by color. The problem is when you have many of them and they're all the same color, what does that mean? And how do you take the right one? I have a navigator for the portals, and this might be the first time you're hearing about the portal thing, but the portal thing is already baked in. It's been baked in, and that's a good way to transport one character to one place to another very quickly. Of course, that's not going to be able to be used by everyone. Um, but it is part of the problem in the end of the Devil Flyer story. But anyway, I'm going to get to it. And another thing that I did last night was and led off with was a kind of a unrealized character, really, that was taken from this old painting here, this old piece of canvas, sort of this limbo type or creature, and I think this character will kind of tie in with the character I'm calling the Dreamer, which is part of the 43. I don't even know, come to think of it, if I've got the Dreamer down here on because I was I might have, and I was kind of thinking like the Wanderer too, just from that first drawing of her. This okay, so maybe no slots left. I don't think that I put the Dreamer in there, so we'll do that right now. There's one character that will be established in this issue, and I don't want to give it away. That is one of the 43, and you'll go, wow, I didn't know he was one of the 43, or she was one of the 43. I have yet to depict Dreamer. Her powers have to do with dreams and the subconscious. So that's, nightmare fuel and can be. Doesn't necessarily have to be. But here was the little thing that I did. Very childlike, kind of scary being. But yeah, after doing this sketch card of Euphoria, it's like, yeah, I need to develop that character a little bit more. She would be real trip to, do some of the outrageous things I want to do with page layout and art, and sort of start to get into the psychology of some of these characters and kind of establish the 43 and what they are. What they are is a very convenient truth that I needed some villains and lady characters, and it all started with a blank sheet that I kind of stopped short on, actually. But of these characters here were the original 43, and and this is the character I was talking about, Dreamer. Just or the Wanderer, Wanderer of your dreams. See, I can work both names into there. Dreamer, the Wanderer in your dreams. That's good stuff. Anyway, let's see. Let me get a backing here. I am going to start working and do some washes and start working in watercolor more. I've got some very nice watercolor pencil sets that I've never used. I've also got these that I haven't used, these painting pens. Painters. and they look like this. It doesn't have anything rolling around, but big chunky things, almost like uh, your enamel pens, your big enamel pens. One thing I've gotta do is collect, dog hair. I gotta collect uh dust and clean and organized. Who doesn't? And keep up with that. Uh, there's certain things I need to find. I don't know if I want to go with permanent ink on some of this or what, or even go with realistic colors. Maybe. Let's see. I'll just. Very Medusa like, with her hair and flowing and everything. And she's more than related to than a character from Marvel. Just the concept of her, I always thought it was cool. Very the art of suggestion. I think, like if you don't see the form of a person, if it's kind of like hidden behind a dress or a drapery or a veil or something, it's more seductive than if they were just nude standing in front of you. Now, I might get an argument about that, but I feel like the because your mind, it, the person or object is going to be what it is when you see it in full. But when you see only partial of it, your mind tries to fill that in. And I think that's part of the creative process. And I think that's what is kind of seducing and seductive. And not only that, but it's one of the things that I find intriguing. Let me try going over some of these with maybe a dark gray with alcohol markers. Uh, and see what that does too. Always do a color test, especially with strong colors. So, a little test sheet here from the other day. Got some notes on here. I've got to look into changing out the filters for winter. It's a very strong gray, but in this instance, that's what I'm kind of looking for. And I want the chisel point. I really use the chisel point on these markers. Um, a lot more than the fine, really. They're great for covering big areas. This is coming across as a black, but it's not really a true black. It's just a dark gray. I think that's going to work fine. It's almost a maze of lines with her, and it does help to go over some of these lines, strengthen some of the lines, and get the bleed through gone, on some of these lines, and tighten it up, strengthen it a little bit, the design. Now for her eyebrows, under her eyebrows, I'm going to go with the little chisel point, 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 point. So what do you have planned for your start of a brand new week? My father always said, don't plan on doing much on Monday because like last Monday, I remember I went to the post office just to get one stamp. Waited in line for about 10 minutes, but I needed that stamp, to get off what I was trying to mail off. So, uh, I waited in line, and that's not the first time with me waiting in line for something, at the post office for sure. Done it many, many, many times, but it never gets old. Just and strengthen some of these lines, thicken some of these lines, and it almost becomes looking like a stained glass type thing. She's going to be a fun, colorful character. Um, when I first depicted her, I was doing all shades of green. I'm kind of limited on my green, but I don't want that to stop me, of course, because I use a lot of green for the bog character, of course. And I kind of like some of the bleed through, to tell you the truth. That's part of what I want to use on these watercolor pieces is the wash technique. See kind of what this does to it. Finish this thing off so I can move on to something else. But I'll be doing some more Euphoria drawings and stuff, things leading up to actually, thinking about putting together a story with her. I really want to get into the 43's heads and what their thinking are, their motivations are. And I think it's just a good jump off point. Uh, I'm really digging on the ideal of the 43, which I've had for a while and been developing for a while. And now I really put, probably yesterday was the largest day that I put the most thought into it, although it's been developing and coming along for a while now. See another eyeball there, that she kind of forms for some reason, sort of eyeballs in her hair, which is maybe other imagery too. But I missed this one there. Often with art, I think it's like, when do I stop? When do I stop? Especially with painting. When is it finished? Picasso had something to say about that, as a lot of artists have talked about art in general, and when is a creative process finished. And because it's very subjective, even for the artist, and often it's exploration. I know it is with me, exploring and trying to do new things, trying to keep the creative process as fresh as it is, you want it to be. And I definitely have, in college, uh, started painting, although I'd done some painting in high school, in art classes, you do that. Been exposed to, was exposed to oil painting and acrylics and all types of stuff, Haven't done much with the watercolor, but I've definitely invested in some watercolors. And I'm happy to work in the, I don't let the, just because I haven't worked in it very much doesn't scare me away from it. I'm just glad to be painting again, because I took about 4 while doing and developing Devil Flyer, and developing some of this other sequential art stuff. Uh, uh, I took like a 4-year hiatus. I looked at some of the last canvases I did, and it's been like 4 years till I did that Euphoria pizza round, where I put some acrylic in her hair. That was the first time I'd painted in about 4 years. That's way too long, but all went to a good thing, and my sequential, I feel comfortable in with my sequential stuff, which I will actually, and more, illustrative stuff. I don't know how you would put it. I'm sure Peter DeLuca would put it a different way. That guy's got uh Peter's given this a lot more thought than I have. To me, I really don't care about the terminology or anything. I care most of all about the creative process. It's like, Omer was asking me, well, why didn't you get your degree in college? And it's like, that's nothing. That was not on my agenda, my radar. It probably should have been. I could have gotten another job out of that. But um, I think I've taken the path of less resistance, and the path. I don't even know what that means, really, to tell you the truth. But I'm just saying, for me, you do you, boo. Um, I think I've taken the path that I was meant to take, and made the decisions that I've made, and not all of them have probably been the right decisions. I'm sure I know that to be true, but uh, I'll live and stand by what I've done. Uh, so I'm not going to go over all these lines in gray and thicken them up. I'll leave some of the smaller lines. That's the thing about Euphoria is variety of line. That's kind of what I'm really driving on with this character. That, and then she can be a very colorful character, because most of the stuff that I've worked in for a very long time, it's been black and white when it comes to the sequential stuff. And then Homer kind of got me working in color. Once I did that first color piece, it's like, yeah, man, I've been in the desert starving, and I really want to um do some color work. And I'd known that, but I've resisted that temp simply because of the time constraints, of working on things in color. Because it does take a while to do artwork in color. That's the next level, thinking as well. Uh, mm, this is good. This is good for stopping point. I think I want to do some more with the eyes, the little eye areas, but other than that, and I probably want to use markers for that too. Introduce some colors that previously haven't used with the watercolors. The watercolor set is very, at least this one is very limited. I add some more color to some of these areas that look a little choppy too. Go over them again and then wet it down again. Hey, he's back and you're still here. Sorry about that. For some reason, since I've got this modem, every now and then the broadband will just go into red and it'll kick me. So, but that's all right. I rebooted the computer, came back up, and you know, it is what it is, what it is. So, uh, I just continued to work while I waited on the computer to do its thing, uh, no biggie. We're back, and who knows? I might get kicked again, but if I do, just be patient. Hopefully, you're gonna start your day out with a smile and a creativity of your own. I've got a lot on my agenda to do this week. Some things that needs be get done before winter sort of sets in. Um, Things that I've not had, not taken the time to kind of do. For one excuse or another. Say what you will. Things that I've put off that I've not wanted to address, and yet they need to be addressed. Uh, and so I will be getting to that all this week and taking care of business. Hopefully, not every day. So, strong purple, 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 purple. First time ever to, of course, I haven't been working on alcohol markers for a while, with alcohol markers rather, for a while. But definitely the first time of combining alcohol markers with watercolor. How exciting! I've always liked to use mixed media. Definitely. A lot of my pieces wind up mixed media. Whatever works and whatever you have at hand. Some people specialize, of course, with what they like to use. Um, Nothing wrong with that either. Or test sheet. And I can, it's good. Uh, Not much juice left in that. I struggle with it. And it's very dark. Not much juice left in this. I might not need much juice for what I want to do, though. I don't want to waste my time with drawing markers either. Though. I do have a larger set that I bought. 40 big pieces. Really jiving on these alcohol markers. Really like them. for laying the color down traditionally. What do you have planned for your Monday? Monday. I'll be staying home a lot now, whereas during the season I'm out and about. Not so much in the off season. Stay home a lot, which is good because I need to stay home and get a lot of this stuff that's been put off before the weather turns to winter weather, because it happens like that this time of year. Seems like before you know it, there's snow on the ground, or something like that that further impedes what you want to do. I want to kind of create some secondary canals or lines with the markers. Just kind of intensify and back up some of these lines and give it some depth. And a wider range color, of course. What you got in your wallet? Hey, how about some pink? You ever have music just run through your head? I'm a wild boy, wild boy, wild boy. I don't even lose. That's one reason I don't listen to a lot of music, because it gets stuck in my head. And I want to think about the 43. I want to think about Silver Boa. I want to think about Devil Flyer. I want to think about Bog. I want to think about, that, and not songs like that. This gets me nowhere. Maybe I'm just easily distracted. I don't know. Wild boy, wild boy, wild boy. I don't even know what song that's from, but this is normally a pretty creative time for me. So I'm glad to be able to not have to worry about going anywhere or being well rested or anything. I could just, like yesterday, I just did a lot of writing and concept building, or whatever you want to call it. Got to work on those blue areas. The blue areas are choppy. It's all right. Turquoise. Love it. Things I have to write down, pop into my head. I have to write them down, or they're lost forever. I've already lost some stuff today because of the string. It's your fault, victim. Better shut up or forget this. Just random stuff. All right, blue, blue, blue. Mr. Blue Sky. Blue sky blue. Really like some yellow. Don't care who hates on me for that. Really like some blue. And if they're honest with themselves, they probably like some yellow too. They just don't want to admit it. But on the other hand, I really enjoy ELO. One of my favorite musical groups. If I was just stranded on a desert island and that's all I could listen to, I'd be fine with that. Be jiving out to Mr. Blue Sky while I'm on an island and playing Tom Hanks in Castaway. Blue sky blue. Hopefully she comes out looking like a bad acid trip. Not that I ever had one of those. So I've been told. Choose your weapon. In a lot of ways, this coloring is much like the inking. So I'm really jiving on it. The inking process. Strengthen some of these. The jankiness of it all. Jankiness of it all. Gradiated color. Really liking that. Sometimes you can squeeze the life out and overwork a piece. Hopefully I'm not going to do that with this. Violet. Go to fine point for that. Wish I had time just to draw all the time, but I still wouldn't do it. There's a lot of world building yet to be done, and in fact, since if I thought a world built a lot before, I'd even do it more now because it needs be to tell interesting stories. So even more demand to tell interesting stories and come up with interesting concepts, even more so now that I'm actually putting it out there. Another song, Cover Me Softly, Cover Me Softly. Mm-hmm. Pops in my head. Like I said, usually most creative time of day for me is after I get up. Sometimes it's so, and I haven't experienced this in a while, but I have experienced this earlier this year in some instances. Uh, it's intense. The ideas keep coming and coming all day long, which is great, man. That's like putting your brain on supercharge and you're getting a lot done, a lot of development. different concepts and ideals. Let's see. Let's go somewhere with this. There we go. Maybe you can come around this way. Lead the eye with color. Better? Ruined it? You tell me. The eyes need to pop more, don't they? They kind of get lost. The eyes need to pop more. I know what to do. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Arnold Horseshack. Welcome back, Carter. These things are noisy, aren't they? Keep your art area clean. Put your stuff up. This will be another piece coming around the corner when she comes. Contemplating the harmony and frequency of the universe. It's a kind of magic. Okay, Rix has lost it. Anyway, okay, some Doc Martens. I'll make those eyes pop. Look at that. That's pitiful. All the paint chipping off of it. Want to find you want to get it, do that right there. Don't have anything on the end of it besides the brush, but I'm painting. Look at Mom. Rex, you crazy bastard. What are you doing? What are you up? Most people are like, what are you doing up at this time of day? Doing that Memphis thing. I'm not even in Memphis. Got my darks in, so now I need to go in with some lights. Put some highlighted areas. I'll do that. And also giving it that brush look. How cool is that? Me. Creative genius. Not reinventing the wheel here. Just exploring the possibilities. And now I can do it live and international. How cool is that? Into a crowd that will go boo, hiss when I do something wrong. Also, the brush gives it a different line quality than all the other stuff. Variety is the spice of life, I'm told. This is going to take it next level. Hopefully. See what I'm saying? Just having enough interest, this you could do something like this similar, for a cover, and it has so much interest to it visually. It'd make a really nice cover. This character, and like I say, she's inspired by a character in the UFOs. Look it up. Just the concept of it. Use your finger too. Let it smear sometimes. It'd be crack a lacking. Leave me alone. I think artists like Steve Ditko, and we are coming up on his birthday, and I share a birthday with him, November 2nd. Uh, I think he thought, it's all about the work, and I'm not exactly sure he's not wrong. Let the work speak for itself. It's got a voice of its own. It's got a voice that transcends you, the creator, and that's kind of what we're wanting, and to create some universality. And I think this character, even though she's a deadly psychotic Nazi, you know, Nazi, uh, I think you can still feel empathy and pity for a creature like that. That may that may be, needs to be put down, you know, destroyed. But you can still mourn the loss of like the last dodo. Leave me alone. No, don't go anywhere. You do what you want. You do you, but thank you, Fanta, for giving me the best advice I've heard on the internet. I stand by that. You do you, but absolutely. Directing the eye, using the smear to your advantage. Absolutely. Thank you for joining me, by the way, today. Hopefully you have a great Monday. I'd like to say this is going to be stress-free week, but probably not. Anytime you're dealing with pest control and repairmen and things like that. I'm going to try not to let it stress my melon out too much. Look at it at different distances too. Artwork, get away from it, see what it needs. Strengthening a line there, a highlight here, a darker area there. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those stockies rolling, rawhide. Don't try to understand them. Just rope, throw, and brand them. Soon we will all be riding high. Pat them up, move them out, rawhide. When to stop, when to quit. Yeah. Maybe now while it dries, and then I'll look at it later. Hold it up to the camera, and you see a line. Maybe that could be done a little bit smoother. There we go. Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. There we go. That there to dry. Very colorful. Had fun with that. Water here handy. Handy. Toilet roll is great. I was using that last night, toilet roll just sitting there, great to blow your nose with. Great for doing your brushes with, drying off the excess. Get a little messed up, roll it off, throw it away. Just begin again. See, I like this. This is getting more back to painting to, different line weights. And I think that's probably helped me hit the ground running when it comes to inking. Not afraid to lick myself. Stop it. You're weird. Maybe so. Definitely got some cleanup to do. Try to finish that piece so I can go on to something else. But it's all coming together, especially when it comes to 43. I probably did more work on the 43 concept, the 43 characters, and what I wanted to do with that than ever before. But now that's been built on, I can build that by creating the characters, and I have been creating some new characters. The Ghost is a new character. Pretty is a new character. Portals. Okay, I wanted to work on portals too. And that begins with a piece of paper and some stencils. And what did I do with that big stencil with the big round one? So I've got a smaller one here, but that ain't going to cut it. I've got, 2 or 3 of those around here. They're about $6 a piece. Here it is. And I just want to do some round portals with different looks, different colors, explore it a little bit. Quickly ink some round circles here on the page. Just kind of make sure they're spaced out a little bit. Kind of like me in the morning, spaced out. Some thumbnails. I had to think through all this, what story do I really want to tell? What do I really want to say? What do I really want to convey? And then what is the best effective way I feel like that I can, tell the story that I wish to tell. I could line them up, but I don't want to be that static about it. I'm just going to put some circles, all over the page. Get another opportunity to do some painting, some washing. I've been kind of missing that. Doing more illustrative work. I missed the painterly part of it in the washes and stuff. I think Omer's got a good take on that. He does that in the coloring process with the watercolor. And painting is really its own discipline, right? But sure, so is sequential artwork. Now when I use a stencil like that, okay, I take, and you can take, okay, a piece of tissue paper. Why don't we do that? And you don't want to get it on your finger. And just make sure you get the excess off. I noticed when I picked this up and started using this, there was some stuff probably on the inside, old ink flaking onto the page. So you want to, clean afterwards, so that doesn't happen. Obviously, I didn't do it. Forgot to do it. Portals. These are going to be portals, and that's all I'm going to do for right now on that. Just I want to give it some thought and how I want to approach it. But this is a visual reminder to me. Okay, work on portals. Like I say, different colors may indicate different portals. I have to find a trash can the right size to put in here. Can't live without a trash can. I have to have trash cans all over the house. I usually wind up with more. I have a recycle bin also. I usually put more with the different packaging of things that I buy in the recycle bin than I do trash. I have very little trash, really. Steel cans, things that you can't recycle. Uh, Potato peels, things like that. Eggshells. Of course, a lot of that can go in your garden too. But I don't really have a garden, and I'd like to have a garden, but at the same time, I'm unwilling to do it. There are a few things I think, try and grow my own potatoes. I think you can do that. There's economical ways to do that. I really don't need a lot just for me. there's a few other vegetables that I wouldn't mind doing. But man, these flowers during the summer, to water them took a lot of my time, you know, and I'm very, very time conscious, I've only got one life to live and I don't want to waste it. Um, I just want to do my thing. Well, this is drying, still drying, but not try not to oversaturate it. That's a good thing about this 140 page. I mean 140 pound paper. But now the head sketches are 110 pound, I believe, and they're good too. And these cards that I've gotten are really nice too. Nice weight to them. I was very pleased with that. I will be going to the printer today and picking up another 100 of them, and I'm gonna try and uh, send her a file. I'm making, I think they're 4x6 cards, not 3x5 cards on all the 43, and a few other elements that have to do with that, and it's storytelling. So I've got those started. Some names or things or just descriptions or kind of a placeholder. So I'm wondering if I need to order some more top loaders. Probably. I'll wait till next week to do some of that stuff. Because all this week I really need to concentrate on getting the repairs done around here before the weather turns bad. I mean, it's almost November. Not quite, but it's getting there, mid-October. Uh, and, there'll be months where you don't want to go out and do or can't do construction, stuff like that. Right now, it's nice weather. I'd say it's probably going to be in the lower 80s today at the high. The lows maybe down in the 50s. So it's already, the lower degree is getting lower and lower. No rain. That's a good thing about it. We got a pretty good soak a while back. It's looking around. I've definitely got to do some organization and clean my act up, get my house in order, especially since and one thing I'll probably do today, while it's nice weather, besides call the guy to come uh, look at my dryer, which has been out for about a year. I haven't used it. There was, I did like underwear, socks, different things like that, and dried them outside in the hot summer sun. Call me crazy, I did that more than once. Work shirts I wear, I don't go, so if I wear a dirty, stinky shirt around here, nobody knows it but me, and Abby's not complaining. So, and I never go anywhere. So, if I go out, I dress in something clean and nice and stuff. Often you will see me like on the stream with this shirt on. You might see me later in the day, maybe even tomorrow wearing it. Why? Because I take this off, I hang it up, and get another stinky shirt or whatever that I wear around the house, and you know and so cut down on laundry that way. I've really cut down on my laundry for a while this year. But yeah, I need to get the dryer to see if I need to get a new dryer, if it's just the heating element. There's two commodes out upstairs. The only commode that's working is down here behind the shower here. There's a half, uh, but and those commodes will work. You just have to take the tank lid off and flush it, and but yeah, the inner guts of it need to be replaced. Um, I've got some garage work that needs to be done. Pest control needs to come out and get in the attic, and the eave of my house needs to be repaired. bare minimum. That's what I need done. There's some other stuff like one window replaced. Well, this big window right there needs to be grouted, in case of high winds and rain, because I had it rain actually forced through uh, to the floor here, which was not good because I had comic book boxes there. Uh, didn't get that wet, but it didn't do anything any good either. Um, so I'm going to hop to it. I'm going to hop off here. This is going to be a short one today because I feel like I can liberate myself and break the chains of oppression by, uh, just doing my thing around here. Will I ever get to where I don't talk on one of these things and just kind of do my thing and leave camera? You know, I don't know. Maybe chair stream. Maybe I'll keep it going. Maybe I'll just mute myself and go do what I want to do. Nobody likes to just stare at a chair. And I don't feel like drawing, sitting here and drawing or composing anything more. I kind of want to think about, my day and what I have to do, calling in some repairmen. My neighbor came home from Nashville, uh, and I never know when he's going to show up. He showed up, and I really haven't even seen him. I took his mail over there and put it in a little U-Haul. So apparently he's taking some stuff to back to Nashville with him. Uh, don't know what he's going to do with this house right now. I think it'll be a while before he actually puts it up for sale, or what he's going to figure out what he's going to do with it. But right now, kind of quiet over there. Never talked to this neighbor, unfortunately. Uh, don't really have any neighbors that I really talk to that much. I live a pretty solitary hermit like life, and that's fine with me. Uh, it's just I do me, you know, I do me. And, you know, uh, to me, it's all about saying what I want to say while I still have time to say it, and not too feeble. Oh, remember the days, I want to be. I want to be creating up to the time that I expire, you know, exploring the possibilities. Because so too many years were shackled with the convention of status quo in life. So go out and do your thing today. I plan on it. Probably have some more streams. Might as well use paying for StreamYard. I may do another one of these again today. But for now, I'm gonna enjoy my coffee, kick back, watch some. Want to limit my time because I've been watching a lot of TV as I do and compose and write and stuff. Uh, on the fifth season of which I've been very pleased with it. First season and about halfway into the second season, then I started getting into it and it started heating up and being a lot better, I feel. But the first season was kind of like, and that's the way it is, finding your footing on a TV show. It takes, a season or two to do that. I think they did it fairly quickly, halfway into or so into. I can't say that I really care about any of the characters, but it's got some interesting visuals and concepts and things going on, So, but I can't say that I'm really invested in any of the characters. Oh no, that person died or got shot or yeah. I think that's lost in a lot of modern shows actually. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna watch some Expanse, get a little bit further along on that. And we'll see you again on the 4 o'clock shadow or sooner. Keep collecting, keep being creative, and have a wonderful Monday and weekend, Columbus Day and Thanksgiving up in Canada. So bow